Most construction plans require green use areas. Traditionally, the way to ensure plant growth has been the removal and disposal of poor soil and site materials before the import of topsoil. This is expensive, inefficient and unsustainable. A solution is soil manufacture with PAS100 compost. Compost is decomposed organic waste material from parks, recreational facilities and gardens. It is broken down in windrow systems and is then certified as BSI PAS100 compost. When used in the construction industry, compost provides a cheaper, more effective and sustainable alternative to the import of topsoil. To illustrate its effectiveness, RAP Cymru conducted a case study of the use of PAS100 compost at the Llanelli School Regeneration Scheme.
The case study involved assessing two different trial areas at the school so that compost could be compared against the importation of topsoil by examining plant growth. The topsoil was manufactured on site by placing approximately 4 centimetres of compost on top of the bare soil surface, and this was then rotavated in with an appropriate sized rotavator to mix the soil typically to about 20 centimetres depth. So this is the surface typically a landscaper will have to work with when they start to manufacture soil. Onto that we will apply the compost. So that can be just dumped onto the surface and then spread out to the required depth. And this is the implement we need, specifically this type of blade arrangement to mix the compost with the subsoil or the soil matrix material you're using on site. Now this is the smallest scale rotavator you could use. On this site we actually used a larger rotavator, and you could actually scale that up to the sort of implement that would should fit on the back of a mini tractor and even a full-scale tractor size implement. We monitored the plots essentially in two ways. Visually, for taking photographs, so we could see a direct comparison of the surface growth of one plot to another, and then we took cuts of the grass, key points, so we could then measure direct weight grass gain of the PAS100 manufactured soil compared to the imported topsoil plots. PAS100 compost has approximately twice the organic matter, twice the total and available nitrogen, and twice the potassium phosphorus, so twice the nutrients compared to the imported topsoil. A crucial benefit of bringing in compost as opposed to importing topsoil is that you are bringing in a concentrated form of nutrient, and you're not spending money transporting the heavy mineral matter into the site. Over a very short growing period, just a few months on one season, we measured twice the grass growth on the plots with the manufactured soil using PAS100 compost compared to the plots with the imported topsoil. Using PAS100 compost to manufacture topsoil will enhance the root penetration into the subsoil, so that in dry periods the roots can actually extract water from depth, and in the wetter periods we've got a more developed, better developed subsoil which will enhance drainage. This is one of the trial plots which has had the imported soil brought onto the site. So here we have about 5 centimetres of topsoil placed on top of the site subsoil. But the important point to note is this very sharp boundary between the topsoil and the subsoil, and that potentially can cause problems with root penetration. Here we have a small excavation pit in one of the plots with the PAS100 compost manufactured soil on the surface, and you can see here we have about 4 or 5 centimetres of the soil placed on the surface, but crucially you can see where it's been ripped into the subsoil with the time, and on this plot we actually have root penetration down to 15, possibly 20 centimetres depth in places. But with this experiment, when we had assessed the costs for purchasing the compost in a bulk rate, not in small bags, the cost of importation, and then the cost of rotivating that compost into the subsoil, so essentially the soil manufacture process, in total we were running at a cost saving of about 25% compared with importing topsoil onto the site. I think what we've shown from this trial is PAS100 compost is now readily available and easily imported onto site. We've shown that the grass growth is markedly enhanced and we're getting considerable soil development, and major point for many developers is the cost. We measured our costs at approximately 25% less using PAS100 compost to manufacture topsoil as opposed to importing topsoil onto site.
I'm Andrew Collins, I'm the project manager for the scheme from WRW Construction. Yeah, something we'd be very interested in. I mean, it's part of our ethos, part of our whole company's background that we want to try and reuse and recycle, and I would imagine it'll come out as cost neutral, if not to a cost benefit.